Hello and welcome back to the Not the Old Firm YouTube channel. My name is Ben Banks, here to look back on the Scottish Premiership matches that happened over the weekend. 5 on the Saturday, not focusing on the one on the Sunday here at Not the Old Firm. So plenty of action anyway on the Saturday in the final pre-split games. Top 6 and bottom 6 now decided. So your top 6 for the 2020-21 season after the weekend results: Rangers and Celtic, of course, first and second. Hibs, Aberdeen, third and fourth. Livingston, fifth, and St Johnstone are sixth by a massive margin of 2 goals. More on that in a wee bit. St Mirren in seventh starts the bottom six. Dundee United in eighth, Motherwell in ninth, and then the bottom three are occupied by Ross County, Kilmarnock, and Hamilton, respectively. Plenty of drama, I suppose, particularly in the game I was at. Perhaps one of the, do I say lesser, because it's a good result for Dundee United, but perhaps games with less action in it was at Tannadice. 1-0 between Dundee United and Aberdeen. 1 goal in 10 games for the Dons. Without a manager, Paul Sheeran's first game in interim charge not going to plan. Again, beaten by a slender margin. Adrian Sporla for Dundee United. Much the better team in this. And yeah, you don't know where Aberdeen are going to get a goal from. They've scored once in the last 10 games, and even at that, it was in a 1-0 win over Kilmarnock, and who at the time were really struggling for form. All due respect to Kilmarnock, but Aberdeen really should be looking to win a game like that, 2 or 3 nothing at Tawdry. And they struggled in that as well. And if you really want to keep digging with that, I mean, it came from a cross from a free kick. So they've not really had a goal from like open play in so long. And yeah, it's quite bleak just now at Aberdeen. I think a few fans there would just happily have the season end now. It looks like they're going to limp into fourth place. Livingston are just behind them, so I suppose if they could get a result over Aberdeen, they play them at home in the split, then Livingston could potentially overtake Aberdeen in fourth. And the way Aberdeen are playing, they don't look like beating many teams just now. Never mind, they need to play Celtic and Rangers again. They need to play Hibs. And then on top of that, an informed St Johnstone side and a Livingston side with full of incentive to overtake them. So I don't think you would bet on Aberdeen winning really any of those games. The way they're playing just now, they look very low on confidence and perhaps just needing this season to end now. They've got Scottish Cup to go as well. Perhaps that'll give them a boost to play a lower league side in Huntly or Dumbarton when they come back. They really could be doing with scoring 4 or 5 in that game, whoever they're playing, to lift the mood a wee bit. I know it'll be expected and they won't get any plaudits for winning such a game, but they really do need some sort of positive news for someone. As for Dundee United, ending the season fairly strongly, top six looked unlikely for them. They did their bit as well as they could. I mean, they got the victory, but it wasn't enough in the end for the top six with St Johnstone winning. But they'll be fairly pleased. They're not in any relegation danger. Looking to sort of win that battle for seventh that people talk about, with St Mirren now likely to be competing with that. So they'll be fairly pleased. Settled season, first time back in the Scottish Premiership since relegation a few seasons ago. Never been in any sort of relegation worry. They've never really pushed for top six. I know they have sort of bobbed about sort of between maybe seventh and ninth for the entirety of the season without really looking like going any lower than that, and without looking like they're going to go any further. But positive season for Mickey Mellon nonetheless, and plenty to build on going into next season. Looking like they're building up a wee bit of form, perhaps at the wrong time of the season. Perhaps they're just starting to pick up form when the league standings look like they're going to be a formality. They've only lost to Rangers. Looking at the fixtures here, since a loss to Motherwell, they have only lost once. It was albeit a 4-1 defeat, but it was against Rangers. Apart from that, 2-0 win over Ross County, 3-0 against Livingston, and then a 1-0 draw away to Kilmarnock, 0-0 with Celtic before beating Aberdeen 1-0. So plenty, still a lot to play for them. I suppose the Scottish Cup will be one they can perhaps put a wee bit more focus on. They've got Partick Thistle or Cowdenbeath in the next round. Hamilton St Mirren, the drama really. St Mirren went ahead in this one. Jamie McGrath doing what he usually does from the penalty spot, scoring. St Mirren had to go into this one and win it to guarantee they finished in the top six for the first time in the Premiership era. It looked as if 80 minutes in, 10 minutes to go, St Johnstone needed to win to make sure they get in. Glenn Middleton scored for them, so all of a sudden the onus was on St Mirren to hold their advantage. Joe Shaughnessy gives away a free kick, which perhaps wasn't a free kick, and Kyle Monroe at the back post heading in, and St Mirren miss out on the top six by 2 goals. Absolutely heartbreaking for Jim Goodwin, who'd held the top six spot, had held that sixth position for so long, but perhaps in the end, they had that run of games in February. They played 10 times or something similarly crazy to that, but they also drew with bottom six teams against Mull. They drew with Hamilton twice now. They and drew with Livingston as well at home. So perhaps those games will be the ones that St Mirren look back on and just think, what if? But nonetheless, I mean, missing out with 2 goals, it's not like they missed it by 5 or 6 points. Still been a very impressive season from Jim Goodwin's side. Very unfortunate to miss out on the top 6 by a couple of goals. But Cup semi-final, they'll probably, I mean, depending on how the top 6 goes, St Mirren could finish with more points than St Johnstone, perhaps Livingston as well. Who knows, maybe even Aberdeen, given their form. But yeah, that'll take a wee while to go over. As for Hamilton, they did go bottom, but there's plenty of positives to take for Brian Rice in this one. And we heard from Jim Goodwin and the Hamilton manager at the end of this one. Don Robertson feeling the wrath of Jim Goodwin at the end of this one in his post-match comments. Well, Brian Rice was happy for goal scorer Kyle Monroe bouncing back from a difficult weekend previous against 11.
It's difficult to explain really the emotions that you feel after such disappointment like that. You know, having came so close, a couple of minutes from the end. We just had to see it out. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do that. Thought Hamilton were excellent in the second half. They made a few changes, forced us back for large periods. In saying that, I thought we dealt with everything they threw at us. I thought the boys defended really well overall. Jack Anik hasn't had a great deal to do. In fact, I don't think he's had a save to make prior to the goal. But we didn't defend the set piece well enough. The lead up to the set piece is, well, it was pathetic really, that we're given fouls for centre halves going and competing with 6'2" strikers like that. I don't know what Joe Shaughnessy is meant to do to try and win the header, but that's the game we're in at the moment. Unfortunately, we end up speaking about referees far too often after games, and unfortunately Don has cost us there today, I think. In saying that, we didn't set up well enough prior to the free kick. I don't think we needed 3 men in the wall. I think 2 would have been enough. And if we had taken one of the guys out of the wall, then we would have had enough to pick up the guys that were in the box. Hamilton ended up with a 5v4, and that man advantage counted, and that shouldn't happen at that late stage of the game for us. We've got enough experience on the pitch to manage that situation better. But unfortunately, it is what it is. We knew we had to come here and win today. I knew St Johnstone would beat Ross County, and we knew we had to win the game. To be sitting here having missed out by 2 goals is quite incredible, but it is what it is.
I think that's what I get every week. I think I get that every week for the boys. I don't think that's in question. That's our DNA here. So am I surprised? No. Am I pleased? I'm absolutely delighted with it. Absolutely delighted with it. I mean, the young lad that scored the goal, he was at fault for a goal or 2 last week, but it just shows you the character of the kid. He's come on today, he's got a fantastic cross in, we could have scored from him, and he's got the equaliser, and that's what I want. People not taking things personal, people just coming in and working hard and getting at their best, and that kid typifies a week in football. Yeah, I showed him where he's gone wrong. That's what we do. That's my job with the young ones, make them better. It's obviously worked, but no, he's a good kid, and actually I'm delighted with him.
First win for Tommy Wright as Kilmarnock manager. They beat Mull 4-1 on another disappointing day for Graham Alexander's side, who just seems so Jekyll and Hyde. They beat Livingston, they've beat Hibs at Easter Road, but they've also lost 4-1 to Hamilton and 4-1 to Kilmarnock now, who at the time of playing them were both bottom of the league. So yeah, Mull, they seem to do really well against the top 6 sides. They've beat Aberdeen away from home at Tawdry 3-0 earlier in the season when Aberdeen were actually doing quite well. Beat Hibs at Easter Road, they've drew the Rangers, which teams in Europe and Celtic haven't been able to beat this season. They've only lost, obviously, the couple of times to Slavia Prague and St Mirren in the League Cup. But they don't seem to be able to get, I don't know whether get themselves up for these games or whatnot. They have lost to St Mirren. If we look at the league table, they have lost at least once to every side in the bottom six at some point this season. I think with the exception of Dundee United, who they've drew with twice. So yeah, it's a bit of a strange one from all. They shouldn't be in too much relegation danger. They are 7 points clear of the drop zone, so shouldn't be too many worries there. But for Kilmarnock, it's a huge result inspired by Kyle Lafferty, who could be the difference in the race at the bottom. 3 points separating 10th, 11th and 12th. We heard from Tommy Wright and Graham Alexander at the end of this one. Tommy Wright delighted for Kyle Lafferty and the influence he's had, whereas Graham Alexander knows that his side can't think they're safe in the Scottish Premiership.
Yeah, I think he has. I mean, he's now got 3 goals in 2 games. He has been involved in 2 of the goals as well today, particularly Mitch's goal. He puts a good ball in behind. He's a presence. He can score goals if you get in the service. We knew what we were getting. We have to keep him fit. That's why he was just tightening up a little bit in terms of tiredness. So we brought him off, and he's going to be a big player for us in these last 5 games, as I knew he would, because I know the type of character he is. He can be a bit of a nightmare at times to look after. You have to be, because he's always wanting to play the practical joke, but he's a good professional and someone that wants to do well
here. Yeah, look, it's not a great start from us. The goal we've conceded is a poor goal, right from not just the shot and turn, but the actual build up to it was too easy. There was no aggression or commitment from us, and we went 1-0 down really early. We've got ourselves back into it with a good response, but we still weren't good enough up to half time. We won at half time, but we hadn't played well enough. We hadn't done the things that we've been doing in the last 3 games to get results. It's quite easy. It's quite simple. There's a load of it, or 3 or 4 ingredients that you have to put together to win a game of football. And if you don't put them, then you get a performance and result like that. And yeah, so I don't think they were particularly good goals from. It's not ones that you can't do anything about. So we have to look at ourselves and how we could have defended them better. But I just thought all over the pitch we were nowhere near a level of intensity to win a game of football. And if you start off like that, and you get a lifeline and you get back into it, you should build on from that. But we didn't. The second half was just a continuation of the first half, really, because I didn't think we were good enough then either.
Livingston versus Hibs at the Tony Macaroni Arena. Craig Sibbald putting Livingston ahead before Hibs equalised through Christian Deutsch. His first goal since December, I think, in the league. So big goal for him, and obviously the Welsh national team call-ups are going to be beckoned for him after this one. But nonetheless, great result. I think for both sides, this is not a great result, but a decent enough point. Some might look at it and say they've lost a chance for Hibs to pull away from Aberdeen further and for Livingston to sort of minimise the gap. But at the end of the day, decent enough point. Livingston get a point over the team who's third in the league, whereas Hibs get a point against away to a team that are in the top 6. And the Tony Macaroni Arena has historically, since they've came back up into the Premiership, been a very difficult place to go. So probably a fair enough point for both. Me here from Davy Martindale and Jack Ross end this. Davy Martindale targeting catching Aberdeen in 4th, while Jack Ross was pleased for his Welsh strike.
I thought we were far better the first half, and I thought the chances we created, we've got to do a wee bit better with them in the first half. Again, we give a really sloppy goal away. We've just got to clear our lines. So worst case, you probably should have been going in there 1-0 up, and that's enough to win the game. Again, Jack's saying the same thing, because the goal Hibs concedes probably. He's saying the same things, to be honest, but I thought we created enough chances in the first half to be more than, well, to go in at the score at 1 each. Second half was probably more Hibs, but I think we had a couple of good opportunities as well. wasn't a lot in the game in the second half, to be honest. So probably on reflection, you'll take the draw, but a wee bit disappointed. Probably, but it's a point, isn't it? It's a point in the right direction. So you could say that, but it's a point in the right direction. And Jack will probably be saying the same thing. It's a point above Aberdeen, we're a point closer to Aberdeen. So, but I thought it was a no bad game of football. I thought it was a good game to watch. Obviously I did. I enjoyed the game in the first half. And I said that to the boys. I thought they played with a wee bit more composure today. They got on the ball, they moved the ball quite well, and I think you could see by getting into the top six that it's probably a wee bit of pressure being relieved from them, and I thought they played quite well. Second half, it was a 15-minute spell where Hibs were putting balls in the box. I mean, Nisbet and Irvin's making late runs and big doys. You're thinking we need to try and stop the cross, because that was probably the game plan.
But pleased with how we played, and then given results elsewhere, it's another step forward for us in terms of achieving our goal. So I'm not, I think the group's slightly frustrated in terms of not getting the result maybe their performance deserved, but I think overall quite happy and content as well. Yeah, delighted for him. I was chatting to him actually yesterday in the build up to the game, and about some things, and it was one of the things I spoke about, and I know I say it to you guys, it genuinely doesn't bother me that he's been on this run and not scoring, because I think his play's been really good. He helps the team so much, and I honestly don't think about it that much just because he does that. And but yeah, I mean, it's great for him because I think he deserved it, and it's important for us as well. It was an important goal at that stage of the game because we weren't playing brilliantly at that stage. So I think for him to score so quickly after obviously we conceded a poor goal was excellent. But yeah, pleased for him personally.
And in Perth, St Johnstone won, Ross County nil. As we touched on earlier, Glenn Middleton's goal sealing a top 6 spot for St Johnstone. What a first season Callum Davidson's had in Perth. He's went in as manager, poor start. They did go bottom at one point in the season, but he's turned it right around with a top 6 spot on the final day pre-split and a League Cup victory as well. So yeah, it's already been a dream season really. It's going to be quite hard for him to better this season. I don't know if you can better it, but I think that's 8 of the last 10 seasons, or at least 8 of the last 10 years that St Johnstone have been in the top 6, which is a remarkable achievement given the resources that they have in that club, given Dundee United, Hearts, Hibs have all dropped out of the league in sort of that time, but they've also been in and about it in that space as well. So great achievement for them. And Ross County, yeah, even though it was 1-0, perhaps the 1-0 scoreline doesn't really reflect how the game went. John Hughes well aware of that. But we heard from Callum Davidson at the end of this one, delighted with his side season. And we also heard from John Hughes, who admits if they did take a 0-0 draw at the end of this one, it would have been an injustice.
Yeah, great timing. I think probably look at form this season, we're probably, for me, somebody just falling there. So probably form this season, probably struggled to start. With results, form was good. I think all credit to the players. Obviously sitting in the bottom of the league and then we find ourselves in the top 6. I think it's all credit to the players of what they managed to achieve in the last 2 or 3 months, along with the League Cup. So I couldn't be happier today. After the performance, I thought it was really good. I thought we played in the front foot, limited them to chances, and had 2 or 3 great chances ourselves to score. So they're a very well organised team. They've been playing some really good stuff, and I thought we nullified a lot of that today. I thought obviously I think we had a chance, called on another chance towards second half. I think we limited Ross County to very few. It's been like a lot of our performances this season. When you miss a couple of 1v1s, you start to think, Then when we scored, I kind of knew the result was 1-0. So I thought, at least we've won, at least we've put pressure on. I'll say, first of all, I think it's been a great season. I think if you ask me, my first sort of job in charge, taking over from obviously club legend Tommy, to win the League Cup and finish in top 6, and I think I would have run and jumped on you and taken it quite quickly. So it's been brilliant. Yeah, definitely. I'm a person, the players down there, you can see how their attitude, they want to win games of football. So we'll be doing our hardest to try and win as many games as we can from now at the end of the season. And all credit to them for where they've taken the club, sort of start of the season to now. So it's all credit to them. They deserve a lot. We're a smaller squad, but sometimes helps. Think they all stick together and they all fight, and I made a couple of changes again, and they all went and performed.
No. You have to be honest with your assessment of the game. If we had took anything from the match, we would have took it. We would have been thankful for it, but I think it would have been an injustice on St Johnstone.
Maybe you'd buy Gordon Garden
I
to go on
think,
for a wee spell.
I can understand that. Ones that can look after the ball a little bit better. But St Johnstone were beat. That's the worst we've been, especially in the first half since I've come to the club. Second half a wee bit better, and it's not been like them, to be fair. We let ourselves down at Ibrox. It's not been like them. I just felt we were second best all over the pitch. But most important, second best in looking after the ball and passing it and being comfortable on it. You know, it was like it was a hot potato. So I understand it, what the game's all about, and it's pressure or a challenge. I touched on it there. I see them in the training pitch. I see some wonderful stuff, link up play, guys doing things, and you go, wow, you need to bring it in on a Saturday. That's where you go out in the pitch, have great trust in each other, great belief in yourself, and go and make it happen.
And that's all we've got time for on this review. We hope you have enjoyed. Do remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We'll have an exclusive interview this week with a former Aberdeen player, so do check that out when it arrives, I think on Thursday of this week, so just before the Scotland game, and also before Scotland's first World Cup qualifier out of the triple header. We'll have the preview to the games: Austria, Israel, not that we've already previewed that game about 3 or 4 times, and since this channel was created, it's only been online about 4 or 5 months. But look ahead to that one, as well as the Faroe Islands, as well as Scotland's road to Qatar kicks off, and we'll have instant reactions to all those games over the next week as the international break commences before the return of the sort of the Premiership, really Championship, League 1, League 2 still going on. That'll be all on our website and on our social media, all the links in the description. And as well as that, after that will be the Scottish Cup return. We'll do all some preview bits and bobs, as well as the Premiership teams coming into that. So we hope you have enjoyed. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time.